This was a Saturday morning Hustle Flashback episode.
Good morning and welcome to the Saturday Morning Hustle podcast. Today I have an interesting observation, something that has come up recently in a few interviews I've done and a few things I've read and some other conversations, and even at an entrepreneurial event I was at this week. It's Saturday. I'm in the office. You know what that means, the Saturday Morning Hustle podcast. No hyperbolic hustle culture, just brutally honest, straightforward business advice and motivation every Saturday for entrepreneurs, business owners, or anyone pursuing success. You can't just work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and hope to become the next big thing. You gotta work smart, work hard, put in extra effort while everyone else is sleeping, playing games, or wasting time. Maximize bonus time to get more work done. This podcast is for anyone willing to come in early, stay late, hustle on the weekend to be truly great. Entrepreneurial event I was at this week, looking across the room and realizing there isn't a single type of person who is an entrepreneur or who is a business owner or has a startup or has an idea that's something that they want to do on their own, sometimes even starting their own nonprofit, whatever it is. Whatever you're into, whatever you're trying to build for yourself, side hustle, startup, do your own thing, be the next Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, or just be the best killer, next VP, next president, next CEO of where you work. There isn't a singular type of person. It isn't a male or female. It isn't 25 or 45 or 65. It isn't the nerdy type, if you will. The studious types. It isn't the quiet guy or girl. Isn't sometimes it's a granola hippie. It's a hipster. Sometimes it is someone you would least expect. Someone who maybe looks timid or shy or not sure themselves, but they really are. And maybe someone who is smarter than you might think they are or expect them to be. And what's interesting about it is if you're open up to the process, if you understand, there's not one thing you're looking for as far as the way a person looks, what their background is, what their shape is, size, they have a beard or not, they have long hair, short hair, do they go to church, do they believe in something else, they believe in nothing at all. All of these things in our lives is the reason that we sort of judge people or separate ourselves from people or associate ourselves with people, common denominators, etc. None of these things actually really account into whether or not someone could be an entrepreneur, because that term is really big to begin with, or own a business or start a side project of some sort, or be an artist or start a nonprofit. Whatever it is that you're into, you don't have to be a certain type of person in order to do it. You just have to have a passion for it, a desire for it, and an ability to then go and get these skills necessary to do it, or to surround yourself with the people that have those skills. So if you are great at math or science or something else that is very academic, utilize that in playing your role in the startup, the project, etc. If you're not good at those things, you need to find someone else that is. Maybe you're a marketing person or a creative or an ideas person, and you need to bring those assets to the project, to the job, to the startup. But I'll find other people that can handle some of the other aspects of it. So you need to bring what you bring. You need to find other people to supply, whether they're on your team, you hire them out, you outsource it somehow, whatever, as long as it gets done. But the main thing is, the common denominator here, of course, for entrepreneurs is work ethic. It's not easy, even if you're fully funded, even if you're coming from background of money, even if you've got resources, even if you have everything in place and every shot is lined up for you, it's still a lot of work. It's still a lot of things that are unexpected. There's still things that you just don't know what's going to happen. And so you're going to have to adapt to those things. You have to be ready for that challenge. You're going to have to be putting in the extra effort when you didn't expect it. At times you didn't expect it, in ways you didn't expect it, because that's the life of an entrepreneur, a leader, a business decision maker, etc. So the ability to put the work in when necessary, to make decisions when they need to be made, and to surround yourself with people who have the assets and skills that you don't have, and then manage them through the process, give them the same feeling of inclusion that you have, because you have the passion for what it is you're doing. You started the whole thing to begin with. That ability to do that and to have that sort of vision and that sort of thought process is what it makes an entrepreneur, a leader, a business decision maker, someone who's going to be the number one at their business, or someone who's going to have a side thing that is going to really happen, is someone who can think that way, put all the other assets in place for their success, go along with it, and then work, and work long hours and weird hours, and take the downs with the ups. Take the no's with the yeses. You're going to get you're going to get more no's than yes. You just have to be that kind of person. That's an entrepreneur. Good luck. Good morning and welcome to the Saturday Morning Hustle. It's Saturday. I'm in the office. You know what that means. The Saturday Morning Hustle podcast. And today is a very important podcast because I typically do a Saturday Morning Hustle social media post, but I'll be directing everyone today to the podcast for sure because I need the full 5 minutes to explain what it is I'm talking about today, which is the difference between having a job, being an entrepreneur, and all the different levels and what that means and what that expectations are from you if that's your pursuit. So the first one's real easy. Having a job, pursuing a career by working for someone else, which most people are doing, and it's fantastic. That's awesome. If that's what happens to provide for your family, that's what fulfills you professionally. But if there's other things you want to do, if there's things you're doing besides having a job or that can replace your job, that's the levels we're going to talk about today. First off, of course, being an entrepreneur. What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? A lot of people think that means you own a business, which isn't technically true. Entrepreneur is someone who takes ideas and puts them into action, often resulting in a business entity. And then they end up owning, managing, running a lot of businesses. The difference between someone who kind of owns a business their whole life, a mom and pop organization, versus an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs typically don't even stick with the companies they build because they're driven by moving from thing to thing to thing. But there are different levels of entrepreneurs. So here we go. I'll try to get this all in 5 minutes. So first being the side hustle. You have a job, paying the bills, covering the basics, but you have a side hustle. And there are two types of side hustles. There is the side hustle that's going to eventually replace your full-time job where you can quit your job and go and work in the side hustle. So that's a great example is you have a day job and then you come home at night and you're starting a new business. Maybe it's online, it's consulting. It's something like that where you start it while you keep your day job, while you're working for the man. And then you eventually make enough money on that, you can have the security to quit the day job. The other thing is simply extra cash. People start side hustles to make extra money. They love their job, or at least it's a really good, fulfilling job. It's covering the bills, and there's no risk in doing a side hustle that pays them extra cash. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. They stick with the day job. Now, from there, you can be less committal than a side hustle and simply do projects, maybe consulting, graphic design, committing to doing a section of someone else's work, thus on a project basis, is another way that you can veer into a second career or do things outside of your work, your day job, without quitting that day job. So that's the second level of that. A lot of people are doing that because they work a day job, but they want to be a musician, they want to be an artist, an actor, etc. Something that in the creative fields, it's kind of risky. The earning potential can be really sketchy, but they have a great job. And so having a second career via a side hustle that is extra cash, that is a project base. It's doing a play, playing gigs with a band, etc. Doing paintings, doing a show for showing of your artwork. These are projects. So that's the next level of side hustle or some level of being an entrepreneur. Then you have outside interest, and outside interest could be something that it could be work. It can be doing some extra work for someone, working on weekends, picking up an extra shift here and there. You know, if you're an accountant, but you like to work in a restaurant on weekends, or a bartender, or work catering for parties, those are outside interest that usually for extra cash, usually not a play on something that's going to be a second career. And sometimes this can be volunteer as well. You can be on a board, or you can give your time at a food pantry or another nonprofit or your church or something like that, where it's an interest that makes you happy to go there and do it. It's fulfilling for you, but it isn't paying you any money. Thus it's volunteer. Being on a board of a nonprofit is a good example of outside interest that it's volunteer driven and not economically driven. And that takes you down to the thing you're not making any money at, but it really fulfills you, is a hobby. A lot of people want to turn their hobbies into business,
it's a really hard transition because getting someone to pay you to do something you enjoy sounds awesome, but making the economic value so that it can happen is a little bit harder. As I got about 20 seconds left here to wrap this all up, as you can see, there's a whole lot of levels of discussion here, but it starts from being fully committed an entrepreneur, quitting that day job and going for it, all the way down to completely being volunteer just to make you happy. Good luck. We'll see you next week on the Saturday Morning Hustle. Thanks for listening. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave a comment, leave a review, share with a friend. I would really appreciate that. Follow and engage on social media, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and this Saturday Morning Hustle Facebook fan page. All the information, all the past episodes, all the Saturday Morning Hustle, Entrepreneur AF, and Coffee and Donuts swag is at SaturdayMorningHustle.com. See you next week.